I'd like to talk to you today about how you can work with NewView to help your company with some specific accounting tasks that we do all the time. These tasks are a bit of a mix of two of the three main things we do. You know us already for business process improvement and training and fractional services. When we talk about these particular services, we are talking about a mix between business process improvement and fractional services. We know that there are many things that we can do really just to make this easier and get a faster start for you, and I'd like to focus on those today. Here's a short list of probably the top requests that we get from our customers asking for help with establishing business process or providing fractional services just to give a little extra help to get things going. You'll notice the theme here. There's a lot of banking tasks that companies are asking for help with today. And I think this is fantastic because we're seeing so many companies not just grudgingly moving into electronic payments at this point. At this point, many companies have realized that this is an urgent need. They need to get going with electronic payments and a lot of the other electronic integration with Business Central that they may not be using today. So let's talk about each of these types of projects and what might be involved and how we can help you with that. If you currently do not have your banks integrated with Business Central, this is a great starting project that lays the roadmap for many of the other projects that we'll talk about in this session. Certainly a map between your bank accounts and Business Central is what's needed to get started with this, and we can help you with the communication with your bank to receive the mapping necessary to use data exchange definitions inside of your software and make sure that the integration between your software and your bank is done correctly and securely. There are a couple of different sources that can be utilized for banking integration. One of them is simply just pulling in your banking statements automatically instead of hand entering or hand matching those. So being able to bring forward your bank account statements or your credit card statements or investment account statements, any of these can be treated as a bank account in Business Central. And with some integration and mapping, bringing forward the statement information from your bank account will allow you to manage that inside your ERP software instead of doing it outside in Excel or some other way. Along with the banking integration, we'll work with you on creating processes for how you can use the integration that's been set up for more frequent reconciliation. More and more companies today are moving away from monthly reconciliation and doing things much more frequently. And I would consider at this point daily reconciliation to be the norm instead of not. So anything that your company can do to reduce the data handling burden of banking integration and reconciliation by doing this more frequently and moving toward a daily goal is what we recommend, and where we see our customers having the most success in identifying transactions that may be incorrect or even fraudulent, or simply just keeping up with workload and staying ahead of having a faster month-end close because of those activities. Of course, every engagement that we work with on you is going to include some element of training, whether that's written documentation, short videos, or simply coaching sessions with your team to make sure that they understand what the new capabilities are. Going hand in hand with banking integration is banking reconciliation. I think we all just have to admit that the bank reconciliation portion of the software is not intuitive, and it's often a challenge to set up, whether you're trying to do it yourself or maybe whether you're working with your Microsoft partner. There are a lot of issues that can arise with setting up bank reconciliations in Business Central. At this point, we've done hundreds of these and can help you get your bank reconciliations set up correctly. Whether you've never done them before, or if you have done them before and they just have gone horribly wrong, we've seen it all. And we absolutely can help you get those bank reconciliations in Business Central set up correctly. Some customers choose a fresh start where they just want to choose a date and just say, as of this date, we want things to be working going forward. Some customers want a historical start. We've had a few customers recently who said, can you just catch up our bank recs going 2 years back and make sure that everything's flowing through correctly? Certainly your choice on how much information you want to capture in your system, and we can go either way with those solutions. If you have prior incorrect transactions, perhaps people didn't know to use the bank account instead of the general ledger account for bank reconciliation purposes, or perhaps things were cleared incorrectly, or we didn't have correct bank accounts set up. Whatever you need as far as correction, we can help you to clear those prior incorrect transactions and move forward with surety, knowing that those things are correct now. As always, we're always going to include training with your new bank reconciliation capabilities. One thing I'll emphasize is if your bank accounts are a mess and haven't been balanced in a while, and you really need some help outside of Business Central just to establish things correctly, that's something that we can help with as well. This is a project that we've been presented with time and time again, and it's easy enough for us to go through your bank account records, bring them into balance with an eye towards making sure that that goes into your system and is taken care of properly using the software that you've invested in the way it was intended. So whatever your bank reconciliation challenges are, there's a whole lot that we can do to help you, even if it's quite a large mess and goes back a long period of time. These are projects we're engaged in frequently, and we can absolutely help you bring that back into balance and have your system manage it for you. Moving away from paper checks and into electronic payments is absolutely one of my favorite projects that I love seeing our customers accomplish. 5 and 10 years ago, there was still quite a bit of resistance that we saw for these type of projects, and I think all that has gone away. I very seldomly run into a company now who says, no, we really can't accept electronic payments. We want to stay on paper checks. Most companies are the opposite, where they're like, okay, how do we get to electronic payments as quickly as possible because these paper checks just aren't working anymore. If you're in that spot where you're ready, or even if you're not, we will help you get there. Setting up electronic payment capabilities in Business Central should be a standard part of the process, and you should be able to manage payments, whether it's payments to your vendors or payments from your customers, electronically. Certainly, if your company is still using paper as far as invoices or paper as far as checks, we want to help you to get that converted to electronic records, where anything that comes into your system electronically always stays electronic, where we don't have paper involved anymore. Part of the solution that needs to help this to be complete is not just electronic payment capabilities, but also automated email setup, so that any documents that are going out of the system to your customers, like invoices, or to your vendors, like vendor remittances, are being sent to the correct person at the correct moment and automatic without manual intervention. As with our other projects, we'll provide and train on the new processes for using electronic payments and make sure everybody at your organization makes the transition to these new ways of doing things smoothly. We do still run into companies who are using paper in some degree or another, but I will tell you that paperless accounts payable is one of the most easily doable projects inside of Business Central without an add-on. There are lots of add-ons out there that have a lot of value to companies on how to eliminate paper. But if you're not quite ready to invest in those type of projects, you can go completely paperless, especially in accounts payable, just using Business Central without any additional software. Depending on where your company is at with their level of paper use, we may have to do some different things. So some evaluation of where you're at is necessary for a good start. We run into companies who simply just have paper checks left and they don't have any paper invoice packets, all the way to companies who have many filing packets where they're still collecting check voucher packets and have quite a bit of activity to assemble, track, and file those voucher packets. We can help you put together processes so that any invoice that you receive electronically stays electronic. We can help you to increase the number of invoices that are received electronically with proper communication with your vendors and setting of new standards to make sure that all of those invoices and any other related documents are received electronically into your system and then easily captured so that you're not spending a lot of time on electronic filing methods, but you can still find those documents inside your system easily. Sometimes this project does take a little bit of transition time to move from wherever you're at today to where you're trying to get tomorrow. So we'll help you through that transition and answer questions and help with communication with outside vendors or your bank, whatever is coming up that you're a little unsure about. We've seen just about every situation possible, and we can help you to move to paperless accounts payable very quickly. We can do most of these projects remotely, but if your company is fully invested in having paper right now and needs to move paperless, we can also come on site. This is up to you. Whatever will work best with your company culture and your project, we're happy to help. There are plenty of other reconciliation projects other than banking that we're asked to help with as well. If you think about all of the types of reconciliations that need to be done for proper accounting, we should be originating the data from inside of Business Central in all cases. So things like having imbalanced subledgers is something that you may want to tackle very quickly because these can often be an indicator of a more serious problem if unresolved. It's possible that you may not have balance sheet reconciliations properly created for your company. These are things that can be created from transactional detail to support the balances that are on your balance sheet so that everybody understands their origination, where they came from, and where they're going to go. How will those balances on your balance sheet essentially be relieved at some future time? What is that future time? What's the future time frame? So there are plenty of things that we can do with establishing balance sheet reconciliations for your company if that's something that you don't have. And if you don't know, we can do a reconciliation review. We've got MBAs, CPAs, experienced controllers, and quite a few accounting experts in our team. Balance sheet reconciliation review and establishing of those reconciliations as a result is something that is a project that we love to take on. Obviously, if we find any existing problems or find things that you didn't know that you have, we can help you to fix those or solve what the problem is. You may not know that there's a reconciliation process inside of Business Central. So for most accounts, we can help you to turn that on and show you how you can maintain that. So there are many projects that you can do in the accounting area really to improve on the quality of your accounting records, but also to make more deep use of your Business Central investment. There's a lot that we can do to help you with that. We've got a lot of experience in this area, and we'd be happy to talk with you about it. So if this is something that you're interested in, scan the QR code there. That'll take you to a scheduling tool so that you can set up a quick appointment to discuss your project with us today. We would love to help.
Once again, some questions from the group. Anyone have anything they wanted to ask Carrie?
Carrie, with the cleanup initiative, do you see this as something that like the normal end user needs to worry about, or is it more so an administrator or partner?
I would say that it's more administrators or partners. Although I will say anybody who is still on NAV and hasn't made it to Business Central in the cloud, definitely be aware of what needs to happen with that new STEP program. And then any need to refactor things that you have had customized. I don't think that we're ever going to lose that word refactoring as programming languages change. And I just think it's a great move that Microsoft is being very public about it, putting it out there as, here's what we're doing. This is why, this is when it's going to happen. So a general awareness from a system administration standpoint, I think is smart. There's less to have to pay attention to once you're in Business Central in the cloud, which is pretty much the case universally. But still, if there are customizations that are related to these tables that become obsolete or deprecated at some point, we'll have to think about the things that we now maintain outside of the base code and what happens when that inevitably occurs.
Any other questions from anyone? No? Okay. Well, we've basically reached the end of our session almost.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, we're going to give you a little bit time back in your day today, so hopefully nobody will lodge any complaints about that. I know you'll have lots of things to do. Just a couple of reminders before we let you go. So this QR code goes to our survey for our event today. We would love to get your feedback on what you thought, good or bad. It all makes us better as we plan our next one. That'll be sometime in the later fall or early winter of this year. And I'll also remind you that all of the sessions that you have seen today, and I know some people have been in and out, they will be put out on our YouTube channel as a playlist. So you'll be able to look through any of the sessions that were included in today's event and share those, rewatch them, do whatever you want with those YouTube videos. And it's probably a good reminder, if you want to see prior events and the videos that we've had in the last 2 years, you can see information about the new release features at those points in time. And finally, other than just thank you for being here, I'm so glad that you guys are our customers and our friends and our professional colleagues. I would love to encourage you to get in contact with us if there's anything that you need. We would love to work with you, whether it's engaging with some of our training products through Learn Dynamics or working with us with some of our fractional services, consulting and business process improvement. We'd absolutely love to talk with you about that. Even if you're not ready to work on it today, if it's something you're thinking about for the next year, set up a call. We'd be happy to talk it over and help you through your thinking process of how you can do more with the software that you already own. Thank you so much for being here.
Great. Thanks, everyone.